Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video where finally, after 3 long weeks of waiting, I have my Natasha Denona Golden collection order. It has finally arrived. I know it's painfully late for me to be really helpful with a review because it's just taken so long to arrive. So what I thought I would do for you guys instead, because a lot of you have messaged me saying we still want your thoughts, we still want to see you using these products even if it's late. So what I thought I would do instead of like a typical review is I would just show you these products, my first impressions. I'm going to do a look with everything so you can see it all on me and on my skin and on my eyes. And I will also share my experience and tips and tricks and thoughts on Natasha Denona's quite frankly atrocious, on this occasion, customer service and what we're going to do with this information moving forwards. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I just want to be clear before I start complaining and moaning about my experience with Natasha Denona. I'm not doing this just because I'm bitter inside or because I just want to moan or because I expect them to do anything about it because I have a channel. That's not the case whatsoever. But the thing is, I am up until this video, who knows what's going to happen next, but currently as it stands I am an affiliate of Natasha Denona's, and so whenever she launches new products or there's a sale or something like that, I will post a link to her website and I get commissioned for if you guys use my link and buy products from her website. And in good conscience, I can't continue to do that with the experience that I've just had without telling you guys this is the experience I just had. I don't want to tell you guys not to shop there or stop sharing affiliate links to her website, because you guys can get 15% off by using, you know, any, not just mine, but any influencer's name or our affiliate code. You can get, you know, a big whack of money off of these products. So I'm very torn. My conscience is very torn as to what to do here, because I also know that if you are US based, which a lot of my subscribers are, you will probably receive a much better experience than I did with this launch. So really this message and this warning and heads up is just for probably international customers. A lot of what I'm about to share probably won't affect you if you are US based, and then I'd rather you guys shop from there and saved yourself some money, you know. So I'm kind of torn as to what to do here. A lot of people will say, you know, if you've received bad customer service from a brand, you shouldn't be continuing to share their products or support the brand. But the thing is, that wouldn't leave very many. Do you know what I mean? We've already experienced some really horrendous customer services from Pat McGrath. Now Natasha Denona has almost outdone them, and you know, who's next? I feel like it's a tricky situation because, you know, I do need some makeup to review and some brands to still use on my channel, so I'd rather do it this way and just share what happened so you guys have a warning and a heads up, and then you can make your own decisions. So that's what we're going to do today. I don't want to continue to be like, oh, you know, shop from her website without giving you guys a bit of a heads up on the things that I've experienced and learned during this launch. So here's the timeline of events that went down with this golden collection launch. So this launched on the 4th of June on Natasha's website, and that was the first opportunity that anyone from the UK, I'm not sure exactly the ins and outs of every other country, potentially the rest of the world that's not in the US, but that was the first opportunity that myself, being UK based, could shop this collection. I believe it launched a day early, the 3rd, on the Sephora US app, not the UK app and not the UK Sephora website. So I think you could get it on the 3rd if you are US based on the Sephora app. But the 4th of June was the first date that I could shop this collection. And I'm always a bit torn as to what to do when it comes to Natasha Denona releases, because they are so hit and miss and there's no consistency with when they arrive here with our retailers. Obviously it's better for me to shop UK retailers because it's going to arrive quicker and it's usually cheaper. Shipping can be expensive from her website, and you know, receiving makeup, particularly eyeshadow palettes from abroad anywhere, is risky because they just have further to travel and the likelihood of something getting damaged just is much higher stakes. So I would always prefer to shop makeup from a UK retailer. However, with Natasha Denona launches, we have sometimes not got them for 2 or 3 weeks after they've launched on her website, which for a creator, that's just too long to wait. No one, I know you'll be able to see the views of this video are going to be way, way lower than they would have been if I had been able to review this a day or so after it launched. So we need to get things as creators as quickly as we can to get our reviews up. Otherwise the views will be way, way lower. And I know so many of you guys will always message me and say, we don't care if your review is late. We still want to hear your thoughts and we still want to see how you get on with products. And I so appreciate you guys who'll watch reviews that aren't really quick after release date, but that isn't unfortunately the majority. You'll see the difference in views if you get a video up as soon as the product launches versus if you get it up 3 weeks later. It will be probably a quarter of the views. So we do need to get things up as quickly as possible. So I try to order things from the website that I think they will arrive to me the quickest, because that means that's just much more helpful and the best thing to do if you're a creator creating content. It has to be as soon as possible. But with Natasha Denona, it's very hard to know what that's going to be, because I have ordered from her website now several times. And the great thing about her website is that they do include taxes and everything at the point at which you pay. So you don't have to pay more when it gets here. You don't have to get, you know, one of the dreaded red slips from Royal Mail saying that you owe money. It will arrive and there will be no more taxes to pay because you paid them when you checked out on her website. So that's something great. But the amount of time that it will take to get here has been wildly different. I've received orders from her within a week, and then I've received this one almost 3 weeks to the day after I ordered it. So it's very hard to know. It's very inconsistent whether it's going to be quicker for me to receive it by purchasing it on her website, or if it's going to be better for me to wait for the UK retailers. I've also had multiple times where Natasha Denona has announced what the UK release date will be, and it is, you know, around the same time as it's in the US. It's always later, maybe 2 or 3 days, but sometimes it's weeks. And sometimes she'll announce, oh, it's only going to be 2 days after the US. And then I'll think, okay, well, then I'll wait and I'll order it from Selfridges, only for it to just not arrive on the date that was stated as the release date and it to arrive weeks later. And then I'm thinking I should have got it from her website. So it's very hard to know, because it's so inconsistent, whether to order on the earliest opportunity from her website or to wait for UK retailers. You never really know which is going to be quicker to do. So on this occasion, I decided to order from her website, thinking at worst it'll be a week or so, and I can also get my 15% discount off by shopping there, and I have a load of credit as well on my account to use. So I thought that that was the better option. I was very, very wrong, okay? So I ordered on the 4th of June. On the 6th of June, I believe, 2 days later, this collection launched at UK retailers. I think Cult Beauty and various other retailers where Natasha Denona launches. It did actually release on time, as it said it was going to be here a couple of days after the website. So when this happened, I thought, oh, it's so annoying, because I could have got it next day from there. It would have been quicker, and I already knew I'd made a mistake. But you know, what was done was done. So the next day, the 7th of June, I decided to ask Natasha Denona's customer services, can I cancel my order? I can see it hasn't shipped yet. It's still saying unfulfilled. It hasn't shipped. I'd love to be able to get this as soon as possible. And it's now available in the UK from UK retailers. Can I cancel my order from you so that I can order it from a UK retailer and have it sooner? That was on the 7th of June. So 3 days after it launched. It hadn't shipped. My order very clearly stated unfulfilled in my account. I emailed the Natasha Denona customer services and said, please can I cancel my order? I want to order it from the UK. It hasn't shipped yet. I'll be able to get it quicker from here. They did not reply for 4 days. On the 11th of June, I chased them again and said, can someone reply to my email, please? It still hasn't shipped. I'd like to be able to cancel my order so I can place another one. I don't want to pay for it twice. 24 hours later, on the 12th of June, so 8 days after I placed my order, 8 days after launch, and 5 days after my initial customer services request to cancel my order, they replied saying, your order has already shipped, so we can't cancel it now. And I was pretty cross. I was pretty cross because I thought, if you had replied in a timely manner, and I know it's busy after a big launch, I know it can take usually like 24 to 48 hours to reply to customer services emails during busy periods, but this was 5 days. 5 days after I chased them a second time, and now you're saying, oh, whoops, it's already shipped now. Well, sure it has. It's been 5 days since I asked you to cancel it, so of course it's shipped now. However, I went back into my account and it still says unfulfilled. I still haven't received a shipped email. So has it actually shipped? And I firmly believe the answer is no. I can only believe from the evidence that I see before me that the customer services people actually lied to my face over email. But I can only believe that customer services were lying in order to not cancel my order, because I actually received a dispatched email eventually when it did ship on the 17th. So 5 days after they told me, and 10 days after I asked for it to be cancelled, 10 days after I asked for it to be cancelled, it actually shipped. And 5 days after they told me it had shipped, it actually shipped. And I can see the tracking. I can see that it didn't ship until the 17th, but on the 12th they were telling me, too late, sorry, it's already shipped, we can't cancel it now. It didn't actually ship for 5 days after they told me it had, which was very, very infuriating. The other infuriating thing is when they actually replied and said, sorry, we can't cancel it, it's too late, it's already shipped. I replied to that email saying, it's taken so long to reply. It's been 5 days since I asked for it to be cancelled. This is very frustrating. You know, it's still saying it hasn't shipped. And instead of replying and saying, oh, you know, giving me further information or apologising for the delay or anything like that, do you know what they did? They closed my case. I got an automated response to that email saying, your problem has now been resolved, so we've closed your case. That's what they did. And then finally the products arrived today on the 24th of June. The other thing that I sort of learned throughout this process, because I was thinking, what can I do to still salvage a review that isn't just so wildly late now that I've already bought the products? What I thought I would do is buy them anyway from Cult Beauty or Selfridges, and then when my Natasha Denona order arrives, I'll just return it. But when I went onto the Natasha Denona website and checked their customer service, their FAQs regarding returns, they offer returns to US customers within 30 days. So you can have the products for 30 days and return them. Okay, no questions asked, no problems. If you are an international customer, you cannot return the products. And again, I do not like that. I do not like that. Why would international customers have less rights and be treated differently to US-based customers? All of this, all in all, just made my blood boil. And I just thought, I'm never going to shop from this website again. This is just hell. Because if you experience a problem like I did, the customer service is just completely unhelpful, extremely slow, and feels dishonest as well. I don't know if the customer service agent really was lying, who will ever know, but it certainly looks like that's the only way I can interpret the series of events and the timeline. So terrible. My products did turn up today. I will give them credit where credit's due. They do package things very, very well. However, my highlighter trio still arrived broken. I'm going to be careful because I don't want it to be broken any more than it already is, but both of these pans are completely had fallen out and there's quite a bit of powdery residue there. So that is completely broken. Having waited for 3 weeks and now knowing that I'm going to have to deal with that again, really terrible level of customer services to either get my money back or a new palette, is exhausting. So the moral of the story is, if you are UK based or an international customer, please be aware they do not accept returns, even though they do if you are US based. So that's nice. Good to know. And also just know that their customer services is very, very slow, very unhelpful, and also pretty unfair in the way that they operate. So that is my warning to you. From now on, regardless of when these products launch and regardless of being able to get a 15% discount, I will only be shopping Natasha Denona launches from UK retailers because I just am not dealing with that again. Okay, so that is my experience of shopping this collection. Let's have a little try of these products and find out if the struggle was worth it. I don't know how it can be, but We'll find out. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to start off with this eyeshadow palette. I mean, this packaging is stunning. I love this sort of hammered gold, like molten melted gold, really beautiful. And when I opened it inside the relief, I can't tell you, I was convinced this was going to be smashed to pieces because I felt like that was just going to be the perfect ending to this nightmare story. Of course it will be, you know, smashed when I've waited so long and been through a nightmare with it, but it was perfect and I think it's stunning. So hopefully there's somewhat of a happy ending to this story. So I'm going to start off with the shade Flesh, and this is my Sonia G Holiday big fluffy brush. I'm going to dip into that Flesh shade as my transition. Literally, this is the worst customer services experience that I have had since Pat McGrath was at her absolute worst. I mean, I haven't really been shopping from Pat McGrath's website for the same similar sort of experiences to this one, with orders being cancelled and products being out of stock and then in stock and discounts being changed and all of the stuff that went down with Pat McGrath. I feel like this is so reminiscent of that, you know, real dregs time with Pat McGrath when it was at its absolute worst. I do think things have slightly got better, but I also think a lot of that is because her launches haven't been as popular and in demand, possibly because of a lot of people's experiences with the customer services, or possibly because of the repetitive nature of her releases. I think a lot of people have been a lot less excited for them lately, which, you know, eases traffic up on her website and ultimately gives us less issues when we're shopping there. But I have mostly just been getting her products, if I want them, from retailers, because that is two websites I really just don't want anything to do with these days, because they are a nightmare. Okay, so it's a nice transitional shade. I've got a little bit of trouble blending just here. If you can see that, I'm sort of struggling to blend that little edge there. I do always tend to like blame myself because I know my blending and my eyeshadow skills are not the best. So I do typically always get gaslit into thinking, oh, it's my fault. And it could well be. But yeah, I just found that a little harder work than a typical Natasha Denona matte. Next, I'm going to go into, is this Teak? Yes, and my Sonia G T5 brush, and I'm going to deepen up the crease. That was quite a bit more pigmented than I was expecting. Really nice neutral brown shade, perfect. Sort of richer than like the first shade I used, but also not too deep. I think this is going to be quite versatile. This is actually helping me blend the mistake that or the problem that I had just here as well. That's kind of helping blend that out. That looks a lot better now. That's a lovely shade, really nice, easy to blend for a deeper shade as well. I really like the tone of that. I mean, I knew that I would love this palette. It's full of really boring colours, and that's me. I love a boring colour, can't lie to you. This is certainly a palette that I will get a lot of use out of. I feel like I'm using my I Need a Nude palette so much, and I think this will be such a great companion to that palette. I think on paper this one looks a bit more blingy, a bit more impactful as well, so right up my street. I love that shade. That actually really helped get rid of the little problem that I had here. It doesn't look quite so bad now. Okay, so T2, and I'm very tempted by Nubia. This one is Calling My Name as a sort of mid-lid shade. It's a little free. Oh my, that is so shiny and reflective. I wasn't expecting it to be quite so shiny as that. That is just hitting the light gorgeously. Getting a little bit of fallout from this shade. Not a big deal. That's so pretty. Love that shade. Wow, and this just with, you know, a brush as well. You could use a damp brush or your finger and you'll get even more impact out of your shadows. So hard because, you know, Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona are two of my all-time favourite brands, and they just keep doing stuff like this to me, and it's really sad because I want them to love me back, you know, to take care of me. I want them to do better because I'm rooting for them, but the feeling is not mutual. Okay, so I'm going to go with a bit of Carver, this shade here, towards the front of my lid. Just slightly lighter. It's actually not as... Oh yeah, it is. It is. Just maybe needed to push it into the lid a little. Really pretty shimmers. I think sometimes Natasha's shimmers, she goes a little softer with. What this palette really seems like she's gone all out, which I love because I love an all out shimmer from Natasha. I'm going to use a bit of Mliko, is that how we say that? In the inner corner. Get that really bright and a bit more matte there. That's pretty. And then I'm going to use my Sonia T3, and I'm going to use, I think, Aria, this shade up here on the lower lash line. My fan is on and it's making my eyes water. I'm not getting emotional, I promise. I'll have to turn it off or we're going to have some problems. Okay, so here is my first look with the Golden palette, and it's very pretty, very pretty. I knew that I would love this palette. It's just right up my street. This is the sort of look that I like to wear every single day of my life. Let's do a little bit of mascara. Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to use the highlighter trio. I'm going to have to be quite careful with this one. It has the same packaging and I don't think it's quite as prone to smearing as I thought. There are some smears on here. I haven't cleaned this off at all, but it's nowhere near as fingerprinty as I thought this packaging would be. So the two shades that have come loose are Sunglow and Bronze. I'm just gonna hold them in there. I'm not swearing at you, I promise. I should use different fingers. I'm so sorry. So this one presumably is still attached. These two were fully out of the palette and sitting in the lid when I opened them. So I don't want to sort of hold this up too much or, you know, bad things will happen. These feel very silky and they feel very, they look and swatch very pigmented. Obviously this shade is going to be too dark for me to use as a highlighter, and it's just not the right tone for like a bronzer or anything like that. So if you were thinking, you know, oh, you could use it as blush, I don't think you can. It's too coppery for my taste of bronzer anyway. I think this shade is going to be maybe a winter highlighter. This is going to be the one that I will use mostly, and then maybe I can use these on the eyes. But I think like most people, we would have preferred singles, so, or even duos, or even, you know, put a blush, bronzer and highlighter in this palette, because anyone who's just a sort of a consumer and not a professional, no one is going to be able to use all three shades. So it's a bit of an odd thing, a bit of an odd product, because like I said, we only have one skin tone and I can probably use two of these, winter or summer, but no one's going to be able to use all three on their own face. So yeah, it's an interesting product. I think we would have preferred singles. This is the middle shade, by the way. You can see there's a fair amount of like glitter there, but it's actually not too metallic. I was really expecting this to be much too much, but it's actually very pretty and luminous, and it's not too much. It's not too much. It's actually a really nice shade for my skin tone. Can be built up if you want a bit more, but I actually quite like the finish of this. Natasha Denona can make an amazing highlighter, which is why I get excited about them, because they are typically beautiful. Every now and then she'll go a bit haywire with the glitter, but generally they are a little softer and more glowy. Yeah, I really like that. That's really pretty. I'm just going to use a little bit of blush. This is Hourglass's At Night. So we can finish off these cheeks. One of my favourite blushes, particularly in summer. It's a bit neutral, a bit peachy, a bit richer. Really the only Hourglass blush that's sort of single anyway, that is quite impactful on my summer skin tone. A lot of them are so light. They do have some deeper ones in their holiday palettes, but they need more in their singles. So here is the highlighter blended a bit more with some blush. Beautiful, really seamless from the front. Really like that. Okay, and here is the finished look. Extra little bit of mascara on there. I love this eyeshadow. I knew that I would love the colour story and the shades in this palette, and I do. Whether it was worth the wait or not, I'm not so sure. It was a long wait, okay. Okay guys, so drama and problems with ordering aside, here are my first impressions of this golden collection. The eyeshadow palette, it's obviously a crowd pleaser. It's obviously very boring, but so am I. When it comes to eyeshadow, this is my jam, okay? One of my all-time favorites is I Need a Nude. I feel like this is a bit more exciting than her I Need a Nude palette. It's a bit more blingy, a bit more impactful. I feel like this is like maybe the nighttime to the I Need a Nude's daytime for me and how I like to do makeup. I think this is so beautiful. I love how this look came out. And this is a palette where I'm going to use every single shade in here, and it will get a lot of use, which I really like because I want to buy makeup that I'm going to use all the time and really get a lot of use and a lot of enjoyment out of. And this is 100% going to tick all of those boxes. The packaging, I love. I love everything about it. I love all the shades that I used today. I will of course keep using it and keep sharing looks. There will be at least another look in my next makeup and movies. I will do another look using this palette, and I'll post some more on Instagram as well for you. If you want more, let me know in the comment section down below. But this was a very good start. I had a little issue blending the Flesh shade, very more than likely a skill issue, okay? I don't have a lot of it, so it could very much have been my mistake and my issue, but everything else, every other shadow I used worked beautifully. There wasn't a huge amount of fallout, and the shimmers were chef's kiss, spectacular, glorious, delightful. I knew I would love it. It's my cup of tea. Exactly. Now, when it comes to the highlighter trio, this was very much something I purchased for review purposes. It's not something I need. I don't think it's something many people need in 2024. A new highlighter is something that probably none of us need, okay? I knew that I wouldn't be able to use everything in here. I did think maybe the bronzy shade would be a bit more wearable as like a blush or a bronzer. It's maybe usable as a sort of blush on a deeper skin tone. I think on me this shade is just not going to work as a blush. It's very copper, and I think it will be a stunning highlighter or like blushing highlighter on tanned and deeper skin tones, but I just can't see me using this shade on my cheeks or really on the eyes. It's just not my kind of shade. But both of these are beautiful, and they have such a nice formula. I really thought they would be a lot more shimmery and metallic, but it's actually quite just luminous and beautiful. You do get some specks of glitter, but not too much. It doesn't enhance texture. I think it blended beautifully, and it's a really nice tone for my skin tone, and that is a gorgeous highlighter. I think it's a bit of a waste to have, like I said, the 3 shades in here. No one's going to be able to use all 3 as highlighters on their one face. So I think we could have done something a bit more exciting. We could have had 2 or 3 of these with a with a highlighter, blush and bronzer for different skin tones. If there had been a couple of varieties, that would have been amazing. We all would have lost our marbles. So I don't really know why this is what we did. But perfect, I guess, if you are a makeup artist who works on lots of different skin tones, but if you are a single person, just a consumer like myself, it's just going to be wasted. You know, you're only probably going to pick your favorite shade or the one that works best for your skin tone, and the rest are just going to live there neglected and sad and lonely. So while I do really like the highlighter, that middle shade that I used today, I feel like I'm just not going to get a lot of use out of it because it's in a palette. But it's a single. Do you see what I mean? I know I won't reach for it. I'll reach for my single highlighters, or I'll reach for my cheek palettes that have everything in there. And this kind of sits in between, and it's neither here nor there. Do you understand? Is that just me? I don't know. Let me know. So of course, as I said, I will keep using these products and give you some more thoughts in my June roundup as how I get on with lots of other shades and with other makeup and things like that. I will, like I said, do another look in my makeup and movies video where I use my newest makeup while telling you about the films that I've seen recently. That will be coming up probably next week. I've got one more film to see before I'm ready for my next episode, but I will use this palette again in that one. And let me know if you want more looks. I'm not too late. Let me know in the comments section down below. If you too have been a victim of Natasha Denona's customer services, please let us know in the comments section. Likewise, if you had a fantastic experience with them, please let us know that as well, because it's good to know if maybe I just had a one-off terrible experience. I caught someone on a bad day. I don't know. Let us know your experiences in the comments section down below so we can have a bigger picture of what they typically are like. But I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.